Hi, I'm Owen from Square Balloon. I'm going to do a quick tutorial on how to share Microsoft PowerPoint and Microsoft Word files and include the fonts that you've used within them, so that when you give them to another client, you may not realize, but if you haven't embedded the fonts and they do not have that font, Word or PowerPoint will replace it with a font from their system. So in this case, we've got a nicely branded PowerPoint document, so we want to make sure the fonts are carried over. So I'll just show you how to do that. So you need to go to File, and then you need to go to Options down the bottom. Once you get to Options, you need the Save tab, and if you scroll down, you'll see this option for Embed Fonts in the file, and you have two options. You can embed only the characters used in the presentation, so that will reduce the file size. So that's great if you're, for example, this PowerPoint presentation is really one that the client's going to use but never edit, and it will be approved and signed off by the main brand guys, and then he will just be printing it. So we could, in this case, use only the characters in the presentation. However, if you are creating something like a branded presentation that will be edited, so if it was a presentation for a client and every time you would be changing to a new client, you would want to click the second option, which is to embed all of the characters. Otherwise, when they start typing, if you haven't used an A in this particular presentation, then it will embed everything except the A, and then when you use an A in the next presentation, it won't know how to render that font because it's not been embedded. So the safest one is always to embed all characters, but it makes it a slightly larger file size. But if you definitely know, in this case I do know, so I can click that one and make sure it's embedded. And it's the same with Microsoft Word. So if I show you Microsoft Word, and then I go to the same thing, Options, we still need to go to Save, scroll down, and you can see it's the same options. This time it's a tick box, and it's also got an option do not embed common system fonts. So if you have a common system font which is in Windows but not on Mac, and you share with Mac users, you might want to untick that to make sure that they have the font as well. I know for a fact that Mac is really commonly has Helvetica and Helvetica New or whatever, and Windows doesn't have that as a font. In fact, there wasn't even a Windows version for a long time. So in some cases you might want to untick that, but the majority of the time you probably won't. And if you're doing anything branded, you should know what fonts you've used, and I would imagine that you haven't used system fonts within the document, so you might that might not be necessary, so you can leave it ticked and make sure they're not embedded. Only to shrink the file size. If you're really not worried about file size, then you could just untick that, but personally I would tick it almost all the time. The main one is to embed the characters you've used in other fonts in case they don't have the custom fonts you've used, whether it's Google Fonts or fonts you've downloaded or anything like that. Hope that helps. If you like these videos, please subscribe.